Welcome in the first lesson of this high-end retouch in Photoshop. We're going to start from the most basic and actually from one of the most important things in every kind of retouch. We're going to work with skin texture. We're going to fix the skin texture. We're going to remove blemishes. So all about this lesson is working with the skin. But however, as in other retouch, we have to care about pimples, we have to remove the pimples and make the skin smooth. In high-end retouch is a little bit more precise. We not only have to remove the pimples and make the skin smooth, but we have to remove the pimples, remove all the bad colors from the image. We have to remove all the small hair that actually can find somewhere above the eyebrows. We have to remove the stray hair from the face. So basically we have to make the skin looks totally perfect, totally beautiful, but at the same point we have to keep the natural skin texture. And of course at the end we have to fix the skin tones because they are never perfect on the unretouched skin. So let's create a help layer so I could show you what to do is at first I'm going to create this new layer and I'm going to rename this as a help layer. It's just to show you which things we have to fix in this first lesson, which things we have to take care of. As you can notice on the face, there is a few small pimples. Of course, that's the part, obviously, for sure we have to remove these small little parts that actually doesn't look perfect. And it's not only these parts, but as you can see, these weird colors over here, these dark small spots over here, all of this has to be, of course, to be removed. When we zoom it even more, as you can see, here between the eyebrows we have some small hair. These parts, of course, are not something we want. There's few more hair on the top of the forehead, and of course, the other thing you can for sure see, the tones on this face are not really perfect. Actually, I'm not sure who was doing makeup or who was a photographer, but the skin tones for sure are not perfect. So that's all the things we have to take care of. And as you can see, that's not only the face picture, but there's much more to fix on the whole body. We have some things on the neck, there's some things on the hands to fix. So all of this we're going to take care in this first lesson. So I'm going to remove this help layer as we don't need this anymore. That was just to show you an example of the things we have to remove, we have to fix. So I'm going to start with a really great method you may be heard of. It's called frequency separation. And it's probably the best tool to use to retouch the skin, to fix the skin texture, and to fix the tones. So the first thing we have to do, we have to duplicate our original layer, our original picture twice. You can press Alt, Control, Command, and J to copy this. And one of this layer I'm going to call Color. And then once again, and this let's call Texture. So let's start with the color layer. And the things we have to do, we have to go to the Gaussian blur. And right now, we have to make this picture a little bit blurry, but it depends on the size of the picture, so I'm not going to tell you the amount of the blur you have to set. it's all about your picture. This picture is pretty standard. It's pretty good resolution. So you have to find the point. You have to find the moment on your picture when you make this blurry, when you move your radius, when this picture is actually losing the details. As you can see, when we move this right, I have to do this very slow because this computer is not really fast. But as we move in this slowly right, as you can notice, here around 7, maybe a little bit more, I'm losing pretty much details from the face, but I want to keep the general shape. I want to see I still want to see the eyes, I still want to see the lips, but I want all the small details disappear from this image. So I'm going to set a radius, I think around 9 pixels will be alright. And now that's the second part. We have to go into the texture layer and then go to image and choose apply image. So the thing we have to do here, we have to start from the layer. We have to choose the color layer because all the colors we're going to take from this layer, and then go to blending. And about blending, we have to choose subtract as it's 8-bit image, but I'm going to explain this soon. And then scale 2 and offset 128. I'm not going to tell you why the settings are like this, why the scale is 2 and offset is 128, and probably not many people can tell you this, but it's not going to work with different settings. I can show you when I set 100, it doesn't really work like this. The right settings is offset 128 and scale is 2. And pretty much always will be the same settings, only one case when you put different settings is when you work with 16-bit image, so when you work with raw image. More likely most of the people works with 8-bit image at this point, so but just in case if it will be 16-bit image, instead of subtract we're going to choose add. The offset will be 0 and then we have to hit invert, but as I said we're working on 8-bit image, so that's the right settings. So let me put this into the group, these two layers, Ctrl Command G, and I'm going to call this frequency separation. I hope I didn't make any mistake. So okay, and we have to change the blending for this texture layer from normal into linear light. And the thing we can notice right now, nothing actually changed from our original image. As you can see, it's exactly the same. There's absolutely no difference between our original image and between these two layers above. You can ask, how does it actually happen? Because everything we have into this group is our original layer. We took the colors from our original layer, but we make the texture actually blurry. So we took the colors, we keep the colors from the original layer, and the other layer is our original texture. So when we connect these two layers, it's actually exactly the same image, exactly the same amount of information as into our original layer. So it's exactly the same. We keep the color on this blur layer and we keep the texture on this layer, and that gives you our original image. Now I'm going to create one more layer. It's going to be just helpful layer. So hit just new layer between these two layers, between color and texture, and I'm going to call this layer tones. So that, as I said, that's just helpful layer, and we're going to fix tones on this layer. So that's the pretty much introduction into frequency separation. That was the basic how to prepare the layers for frequency separation, creating color layer, tones, and texture. And now we actually ready to start our work with frequency separation. We are ready to start retouching our skin.